Phil. Hey, good afternoon. Hey, Isaac.
What's up?
Very good, very good. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. สวัสดีครับ Hi นะครับ So just a quick hands. Who's Thai in here? Oh, the only one. The only one. The only one here. Okay. No problem. Just a quick check. So as Nong has said, we'll be talking about how do we fight PM2.5 and what can we do in our daily lives to help combat this issue. So next slide, please. A bit of a quick introduction. My So I'm working in the sustainability field at BTS Group. We do the SkyTrain as our main business, and I've been working for 4 years already. I finished my master's degree in sustainable business. So what I'm doing right now is directly related to what I studied. And I was an AIESECer back when I was in university at Bangkok University as well. So this is the reason why I'm here to connect with AIESECers as well. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, PM2.5. I think we all know, we've all heard of this word before, right? So what exactly is PM2.5? Do you know what does PM stand for? No, I mean, what does it stand for? PM. Yes, particulate matter. So, no worries. We are here to learn. So yeah, PM stands for particulate matter, which is really small, 2.5, and it comes from many different sources. It comes from industrial emissions, from producing electricity and producing materials, from burning wood, and from agricultural processes, and cars, of course, and also other household emissions as well. These all contribute to not only PM2.5 but other particulate matter like PM10 and sulfur dioxide as well. Next, please. Just so that you can imagine, because we cannot see the PM2.5 with our own naked eyes. So the PM2.5 is 2.5 micrometers in diameter. For comparison, 10,000 micrometers equals 1 centimeter. So you take that number, you divide by 10,000, and 2.5 micrometers is the size, the diameter of the PM2.5. Compared with your hair, it's like tiny, very tiny. And compared to hair, to sand, it's like so tiny. It's impossible to see it. Even with a microscope, you really need a good microscope to be able to see the actual matter. So that's why it's so hard to tackle this kind of issue. Next, please. I think you're familiar with this, the IQR index website. There's a station nearby near Bangkok University. So if you check the source, it's based on the scale of 0 to 500, and below 100 is okay, but above 100 is not safe to be outside and inhaling the PM2.5. It's measured in micrograms per cubic meter, so they take this as the main source, but they also factor in other particles as well, such as PM10 or nitrogen dioxide or sulfur dioxide as well. They put it on the index. You can play around and have fun with the website as well to see wherever you're going, what's the air quality like today or in other places as well. Next. I'm sure you're quite familiar with the health effects already, but just to reiterate some short-term effects first. Of course, you might feel a bit dizzy, it will be hard to breathe, hard to swallow, you might cough, or like your skin might irritate a little bit. But there are more dangerous long-term effects as well. If you're outside and inhaling PM2.5 for a long time, it's gonna have you're more likely to have stroke or even lung cancer or diabetes, which of course can lead to deaths. So I think now we are quite aware of the effects on our human bodies. Next. And the situation in Thailand, this is the statistic from the Ministry of Public Health in 2022. 45 provinces in Thailand are at risk of PM2.5 every year. 56 million people are at risk from PM2.5. 22 million of which are the vulnerable groups, such as children or pregnant women or people with disease, and over 25,000 people may die each year from air pollution. Not directly from air pollution, but the indirectly die from air pollution. Next. Another statistic, this is a newer one, that in Bangkok, the 2 million people might become sick from PM2.5. Okay, I think that's enough about talking about what's PM2.5. Next, what can we do? We as a student of Bangkok University, as a citizen of Thailand, citizen of the world, what can we do? Well, that's why we're here. We're here to plant some trees. Now, what's the benefit of planting trees? Okay, obviously it provides shade. It lowers the temperature as well. If you can see in cities as well, if you go to public parks, it won't be as hot as standing out in the sun. Of course, it will help absorb the PM2.5 as well as other particles such as greenhouse gases. And of course, it cleans the air. It also prevents flooding. It has a lot of natural benefits. And there's also many studies that say it improves your mental health as well, just by being in the park or just taking a walk in the park as well. Next, please. There's many different types of trees. I'm not an expert on which type of tree is the best. I think this is for your own research to find out. If you want to be more involved in more volunteer activities, you can find out what type of tree is the best at absorbing PM2.5 or absorbing greenhouse gases. Because in each area, no matter which area, there's a more suitable type or less suitable type, depending on the weather, depending on the soil and the surrounding environment as well. But each tree can absorb carbon dioxide, absorb the PM2.5. Next, please. Besides planting trees, I'm sure you've all heard of these three words before. It's been ingrained in our education at least since when I was young. Reduce, recycle. Just to reiterate quickly, reduce is reducing your consumption, whether it's material usage, water, electricity, and so on. Reusing is reusing the stuff that you basically reusing it again for a different purpose or so on. And recycle is sending it to someone else to turn it into a new product. But there's a reason that we always say reduce first, because reduce is the best way to reduce your impact. So you might be wondering, how does this relate to PM2.5? As I said in the first slide, one of the main sources of PM2.5 is from electricity production. Electricity, it doesn't come out of thin air or magic. It comes from burning fossil fuel usage, coal, natural gas, mainly in Thailand. And burning these kinds of stuff gives you electricity, of course, but also produces a lot of PM2.5 and other greenhouse gases as well. If we, as a citizen, we reduce our consumption, reduce electricity usage or anything, the people will notice, and I hope they will reduce their electricity production by default. Less demand equals less supply, according to economic terms. So that's why when we say these three R's, we put reduce first, because that's the most effective way to tackle this issue. But if we cannot reduce, we reuse and then we recycle. Next, please. And there's also many other ways. For example, bring your own tote bags. For example, I'm sure you have quite a few tote bags that are given at events. For example, I always put them near my front door so that I don't forget. So if I go to 7-Eleven or something, I can just put it in my bag. And what else? Water tumblers. Personally, I drink a lot of water, so I always try to have one handy, so that when I'm outside and I drink water, I don't buy. It's no shame in purchasing that. It's okay. because this is just normal water. Sometimes we want like other like sweet water or and so on. But if possible, I always try to bring my water tumbler and just refill it. I'm sure in here in this university there's a lot of places you can fill water. But don't be alarmed if you have a water bottle like this. You can, if you cannot reduce, you can always reuse. Reuse the same bottle for other purposes or when you're drinking water in a day. Meat consumption. Did you know that growing livestock such as cows also produces PM2.5 and other greenhouse gases indirectly? Because if for a company to produce meat, they have to grow a lot of food, lots of grass, they have to clear lots of land, and for the cows to live. So this in turn creates a lot of pollution, just indirectly. Like if you really think about it, it's not the first thing that comes to mind. So if possible, I'm also a meat lover, but there's also other food options that's available as well. Sharing economy, such as ride-hailing apps, or for something more basic, like if you need to repair something and you don't have a tool, you may want to ask your neighbor. So for this tool, then you can share it and return it. So this reduces consumption. And back to my previous point, if you reduce your consumption, reducing the demand equals reducing the supply to create more and more and more. Of course, using public transport also help. Not just the traffic in Bangkok and anywhere would reduce the exhaust gas and producing PM2.5. Using energy efficient appliances at home as well. And the final thing is try to speak up, or if you see somebody not doing good or trying to pollute, you can use your own platform, social media, or raise it to the professors or the local government, local authorities in charge, and they can do something about it. And okay, next slide. I wanted to end my speech here with a very good example. You know where this is? Can anybody say? Yes, this is Singapore. So, quick story. So Singapore should technically be hotter than Bangkok because it's nearer to the equator, right? But throughout the years, they've been able to harness the power of trees, basically. They are now known as the Garden City throughout the world by planting the trees. This is the Garden by the Bay, but not only the public parks, but also in the city, near the buildings that have lots of trees that provide shading. And so if you can look at the temperature right now, you see that Singapore is less hot than Bangkok because more trees equals less temperature, and of course less PM2.5 as well. More people taking public transit as well. And they used to face a really severe PM2.5 issue because back then Indonesia was burning a lot of forests and burning a lot of wood for their agriculture, but through diplomatic relations and negotiation, they were able to come up with an agreement to reduce or even stop the burning of wood, so they were able to quickly solve this issue with the help of Singapore's own infrastructure as well. So that's what I want to leave you with all this, that we can learn from our neighbors, we can learn from anywhere else in the world, and we can start with ourselves. But if you want to explore the world, you can do so with AIESEC's OGV program as well. So thank you so much, and look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much for the really insightful presentation on the effects of PM2.5 and how can we help. For me too, I really learned a lot as well because during the PM2.5 there were lots of people who were sharing about PM2.5 that it was in such long paragraphs. So we usually skip it, but now that we know details and stuff, so thank you so much for that. Yes. So now that we know what PM2.5 is, and I'm pretty sure that our students might have some questions that we can discuss together. So we will have 15 minutes for discussion. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we can discuss it together.
I think we're so far away from everybody. Nobody's just sitting in the front row at all. It's okay, don't be afraid. We're
with the SkyTrains and stuff, you guys run on electricity, right?
Yes.
So what is the one aspect or factor in your company that you are struggling to stay green at? Like what is, causing the most amount of pollution, whether it's air, water, whatever it is? What part of your company is the part that you're struggling to stay green or sustainable?
I think our main challenge is that, as you know, the BTS SkyTrain runs on electricity, and currently the grid of Thailand is not as renewable as in many other countries around the world. Our main sources of electricity still come from natural gas and coal. The renewable sector is increasing. It has increased quite a lot compared to 10 to 20 years ago, but I still think it's not enough. From my last research, about 15 to 20% of Thailand's grid comes from renewable sources like solar or hydro or wind, which to answer your question, this is the main source of our emissions is by just using electricity, which is a very unique challenge compared to other companies. For example, for food companies or oil companies, of course they will have difficulties in reducing those emissions and other pollutants from those other sectors. But yeah, our main challenge is finding ways to reduce our electricity usage, even though as companies we need to grow our business by increasing more lines or like expanding to other businesses, for example. Yes, hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. So, any more questions?
Okay. That's a very good question. Just to say, I'm not an expert on sharing economy, but I think what we can do is, I think the easiest way is by word of mouth. Word of mouth is like telling your friends, like for example, if your friend needs to use a tote bag, for example, if they don't have a tote bag, you can just lend them your tote bag, return it later. Or sometimes for other serious stuff, for example, like a tool to repair something in the house, for example. And I think it can start with this, and then if it works, and then it will grow and grow, then more people will know about it. And a very good point about what companies change is the only constant in this universe, and I think companies will have to adapt. And many companies already have. For example, one really quick example is probably, I'm not sure if this will answer your question, but what I just thought of it, Uniqlo, the clothing brand, they will have boxes in their stores for people to donate or donate their used clothes already that are broken. So I'm not sure whether they either donate it to orphanages or they will repurpose them into new clothing lines, which as a result they may reduce their cost of producing new materials, which in turn will make it easier for the company to profit. And I think right now the trend is really, everybody is really interested in companies acting on sustainability. So I'm not decided it will be a good PR for companies as well if they can adapt to consumer needs. I mean, the sustainability question is like any other consumer behavior pattern. For example, if consumers are going to the competitor, companies need to adapt. If the consumer is buying the product less and less, companies need to adapt, and then they need to know what the consumer thinks so that they can adapt sustainability by respecting with the environment and society and so on. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, so thank you so much. And when you were talking about it, one question popped in my mind, which was, so according to destination, there were like many things that we can do to make it sustainable, right? However, like when we think about why when people know to do sustainable, but there is some factors that are preventing them to be sustainable, such as like being inconvenient and also like being expensive sometimes. So like in your experience, what would be one easy way to start being sustainable? Like one thing that everyone can do every day?
I think the few examples that I shown, like for example, like carrying your own water bottle. I think you are right. Like being sustainable can be more expensive, especially in the past. It is more expensive. It's a privilege. I think the barrier has been slowly reducing, and I don't think it's that hard. Like even the smallest action, for example, like carrying your own tote bag, carrying your own water bottle, and just using less in general. And I think it's not too difficult. It might be a little bit inconvenient. I think it's the same as like trying to pick up a new habit, for example. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but if you can do it, you'll get the hang of it, and then you'll just start doing it. If you read the book about like habit, like if you start doing it 20 or 30 times a month, it will come automatically. For example, like the really small actions, and also try to like make sure you're being heard within your friend, and also like encouraging other people as well, because that's what we can do for sure, just by speaking to your friends, speaking to your family, or whoever that knows you. Spread the message, spread the knowledge, and I think all of our small actions can create an impact, and I think that's what AIESECers are also here for as well.
Yes, so thank you so much. So I think that was a really insightful discussion as well. So is there any more questions? Oh, okay.
Because you mentioned that growing livestock is also a part, play a big part in PM2.5. So for food service industry, business like restaurants, specifically like reducing the PM2.5, what can they do? Because they have a lot of livestock consumption and they're contributing to PM2.5. So how can they reduce and be sustainable?
Tough question. Tough question, because I'm not from the food industry. But what I can say is it's not only about the livestock consumption. It's about livestock overconsumption. The world has its natural cycle. Like in nature, in biodiversity, they were operating in this cycle. Like animals live and die, plants live and die as normal until we came in. Until we humans came in to disrupt this process by eating too much meat, eating too much fish, for example. I would say the most logical thing is less consumption. Don't break the cycle. But I guess it would be hard for companies to do it. And I think the first thing that companies can do is to offset those emissions. For example, if normally they produce this much PM and it's fine, but then the company starts to grow and they produce this much emissions from livestock, they would have to find an offset method one way or another, which is the most logical way is planting trees, but also to reduce other emissions along their supply chain or their value chain in one way or another. Yeah, it's a very tough question that there might not be an easy solution, because if there's an easy solution, I think they would have done it a long time ago. Question here? It's possible anywhere. It's not a technological limitation. It's only willpower, and I would say, I don't want to get political, but I think it's a kind of a political limitation, because some countries countries are able to do it from the top of my head. I think it's Rwanda, country in Africa. They ban plastic bags. So if a traveler they fly into Rwanda, they will check your bags for any plastic bags and then they will eliminate them. So if in the streets of Kigali, the capital city, there's no plastic bags at all. If they have the political will, it's possible. I think 7-Eleven, they try to reduce plastic bag usage, but yeah, I can understand like it's not easy. It's doable, but it's not easy because there's some like hot stuff and people will still forget to bring their bags. But it's understandable. It takes time, especially like behavioral change. Really takes time, and it's not just one person. It's everybody. Everybody, like if it's a technological change, it can happen overnight. For example, if the government or the local authority will want to implement a technological innovation, it can be implemented, but people need time to adapt to it. So I think it's possible, but I think it can be done in stages. I think what 7-Eleven had done is a starting point, but it needs to catch on. And once the momentum has gone to quite a bit, I think it is possible. I can't say how long it will take, but it also starts with everybody as well. Imagine if everybody in this room, you all carry your tote bags, and then the 7-Eleven employees start to see that no one is asking for bags anymore. And then they might adapt to it. As I said in my previous answer, like companies need to adapt to what the consumers are doing. That is one possible scenario, and I think it's hard, but yeah, I think it is possible.
Thank you so much. So I think that's all the questions that we have, and I really want to take a moment to appreciate people for like sharing the knowledge. Me personally learned a lot from this session, and I hope that our participants also get so many knowledge and hopefully raise more awareness about like to be more sustainable and then to attack that PM2.5. Yes, so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all for being here as well.
Okay, so before we go, we'd like to take a picture together with people. So I wanted to invite everyone to come front to take a picture together.
Can we go closer next to each other? This side a little bit closer, please. Okay, are we ready? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. A different pose, please. Let's do a different pose. Okay. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you very much.